I'm gonna listen to the Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver soundtrack because I've been kind of enjoying that. It's like dark fantasy with really with like yeah, it's like electronic dark fantasy. It sounds very it sounds very like barbaric. It's a setting about might makes right, where vampires just fucking casually took over the world and all the humans became cattle and got fucking eradicated. You gotta respect shit like that. Where like morality and mediation really only occurs whenever like power levels equalize in a society. But if one guy gets too powerful, he will just fuck everything else. Which is exactly what happens in Legacy of Kain, which is why it's kind of badass. It's like, it's very barbaric and tribal. Whenever Kain ascends and he has his vampire children around him who just like, it's very primal. Yeah, sup. Everybody, Wolf, Veil, 6, Big Dumb World, Wow Whoa. Wondering if I. Yeah, I'm wondering if I should make a Discord server to have voice chats, but I don't know if. I don't know. It would really pay off. Anxiety, attacks. I was having some bad anxiety earlier this week. Worrying about the future, not able to do anything about it. Also the fact that all this is pointless and this world is shit. really need to... Been wanting to play through The Legacy of Kain, starting with Blood Omen. Like, I've seen it and I know what happens all in it, but I've never actually played through all of it. I think that would be pretty badass. The dark fantasy and the anti-hero protagonist, pretty badass. I think that's pretty cool that they came up with this fantasy setting and they have Kain canonically take the evil ending where he goes, "Fuck all of you. I'm gonna do the one thing that'll express my free will and not be part of anybody's scheme. I'm gonna dunk the whole planet and plunge humanity into servitude as livestock under vampires." And then they just went ahead and made the entire franchise just continue with that. If, people are speculating that Epstein is playing Fortnite as we speak. I mean, I'm honestly barely paying attention to the Epstein shit. It's kind of boring now. I mean, it's funny that it's driving Trump and everyone around him crazy. It's also demoralizing everybody, making them realize that evil people, evil, degenerate, depraved people, rich people are depraved degenerates. They rule society. Like, no fucking shit, retards. But there's also a lot of retardation around it where I just don't even care. There's a lot of stupidity and hysteria. There's speculation that Epstein talked to Moot about the pull board, which is kind of, I mean, not really, what's the word? It's not really clear cut. Glizane or Gilzane Maxwell being a moderator on Reddit, that's more egregious. Because Reddit and liberals and leftists have always just purged all wrong thinking, facilitated corruption and degeneracy. Yeah, it was also funny, Epstein, people realize that the Jewish elites call you Goyim. in derision of you. Another aspect that's kind of funny. And then a bunch of like white nationalists and anti-Semites are like, see, this is proof that Jews are the problem and run everything. And then I made this image with like a circle showing capitalists, and then within that circle was Jews. So I want to push that narrative that yeah, Jews are a unique and part of the capitalist problem, but a lot of things that you hate Jews for, you just hate general capitalists for. Like housing prices going up, that's because of fucking just general capitalists. Obviously, Jews are benefiting from that, and they're serving their own in-group, but if you don't take care of the capitalist question, then anything you do with the Jews will be completely pointless. You know what's funny is that if I had my dream government where there's like a mage council that runs everything, we would also be calling the masses cattle, but it would actually be correct. Because calling people cattle for not being part of a religion is fucking retarded. It's arbitrary, retarded nonsense because religions are retarded. Especially organized religions that any normie can be a part of by being born into it or doing inane rituals. Yeah, you're not a... Maybe in the past... I mean, I can understand why Jews consider Goyim to be, like, stupid cattle, because they're just dumb masses that have no group preference, can be easily manipulated, and they're all stupid. But Jews are stupid too. Jews are very, very stupid. Next to a spiritually enlightened person, the Jews are very stupid people. So in a sense, it's like being a predator of the predators. Higher up the food chain. You got the cattle, and then you got the predators that feed on them, and then you got the predators of the predators. Yeah, like the main thing that I tell neo-Nazis is about the capitalist question, which the Jews are a part of. You need to solve the capitalist question. You need to understand why it was even a problem to begin with. You need to develop an actual philosophy beyond fear-mongering about groups, or else it's all completely pointless. I do think a lot of the Epstein stuff is overblown and hysterical, but like a lot of the shit in it is just victim testimonials, which are dubious. Like, who knows what's going on? Sometimes it's cartoonish and over the top, but I'm not gonna stop people from saying dumb shit about it and creating hysteria. Because people do need to realize that society is run by evil people and that they all innately support evil people because they're too stupid. Like that it causes problems for Republicans because a lot of MAGA tards, they're all conspiracy theorists talking about satanic pedo elites until Trump is implicated in it. And then, oh, suddenly, oh, you're just a loser. You're just jealous. That's why you're saying they're pedophiles. It's just predictable. So anything that antagonizes those people is good. It's just that the only problem that I have with it is that people will think that evil is cartoonish and they won't be able to identify when evil is like increasing housing prices as an investment opportunity and to coerce desperate people looking for homes into getting robbed. And also that inflation is actually deliberately designed to continue forever so that people who depend on fiat and can't invest, these people all get robbed, all of you, all the masses get robbed. Because rich people, they don't have to rely on fiat. They can hold investments, they can hold commodities, they can hold stocks and start businesses and stuff. And they can put most of their money away, and that money will turn into more money, partly thanks to inflation, which is basically you getting robbed casually to give them more money. So, while people are fixating on rich people like eating kids, it's like, yeah, yes, rich people do in fact rape children. Yes, they do. Whenever with trickle down economics, the only thing that happens is the elites will do things like they'll just blow billions of dollars on immortality elixirs, like what Chinese emperors did, and they'll build nuclear bunkers and multiple mansions, and they'll buy 10 yachts to rape 10 different kids on. Yes, they do all of that, but you need to also understand, what if an elite is not doing those things? What if an elite is just inflating your currency forever? What if an elite is making it legal to cancel your pension through some cheap and easy loopholes? What if an elite is getting like 90% or 100% tax cuts, paying nothing because of some business loopholes? What if they're not raping kids and they're just doing like the completely mundane evil shit? People won't be able to identify that because all retards ever talk about is the cartoonish evil. So that's something to be wary of with this satanic pedo elite Epstein crap. It is funny that it's causing trouble, but at the same time, you do realize that it's also a way to make people retarded so that they don't know what's happening to them. Chris Surface says hi. Oh, so you're streaming on YouTube. That's a good thing I was talking about the Jews a couple times. In a respectful manner, not derisively. Now saying that AI is not a replacement for software, which is the exact opposite of what he was saying literally weeks ago. Yeah, let's talk about another example of completely mundane evil that doesn't involve raping children. The fact that almost every single fucking capitalist is constantly lying to manipulate everybody towards their personal profit. So that every single day you're going to have to listen to fucking billionaires lie in order to manipulate stocks. You have to listen to Elon Musk babble about impossible data centers in fucking space, where it would take the amount of power it would take to radiate the heat generated by those data centers is fucking impossible. So they'll lie and say that AI is going to replace everyone, and then the next moment they say it's not. And they'll just blatantly lie, and the normies are retarded and just go along with what these con men say because they think that they'll be let in on the scam, but all that happens is they all get robbed. Ohasu. I've known a lot of wealth worshippers. I used to live in a podunk town in Florida full of do-nothings and day-drinking boomers that don't make more than $12K a year. They all wanted so badly to get on the good side of the billionaires that had houses across the canal. Wealth is one of the most immediate indicators of realization of power. So it will always deceive the cattle people who will always want to be shepherded. They are a void that wants to engulf other things. Desensitize the population. You know what's funny about it is that MAGA-tards, Trump supporters, are already trying to normalize pedophilia. That's because that's just one of the defenses they have to use to do damage control for this mess, which is funny. Normies are doom spiraling about the JEE files, but I find it extremely illuminating and freeing. And also, if normies... Oh, is the chat not on screen? It was broken, yes. And also, if normies were handed the keys to the kingdom, they would do the exact same thing. The elites are lolcow neat gooners. Well, the rich are just normies who got rich. And normies are animal people. And what do animals do? They eat and rape and kill and torture random things. Because they're just a mind that doesn't have to absorb anything. They just have to externalize and externalize. And how do you externalize? Well, one way is you put your dick in things. So a lot of normies, if you give them a lot of money, they're going to put their dick in a child. Because they view children as like valuable blank canvases to do whatever you want with, to impart yourself on and secure a reproduction for longer. And they would love to be part of a secret club that does evil things. Especially a wealthy club. The wealthier, the better. That's like their fantasy, to be part of like an actual group where you wear like robes and masks, and then you get to like come in children or something. That's what a lot of people want. They're just animals. Up, pepper. Yeah, see, rich people are just normies that got lucky and lucked into wealth. And what would a normie do if they got rich? They would do depraved things and they would corrupt society to make more money. And they would not give a fuck about anything except themselves. Hence the problem we are facing. Hence these initial motions and these motivators, these material conditions that immediately guide the average fucking retard. Find it extremely striking how JEE was a nobody from nowhere. He literally couldn't finish a degree and dropped out of uni. If the elites wanted someone to do this, they would have already had a guy. But JEE's chart is insane. It's scary. He has exalted Saturn in Libra right on the MC, so he was naturally extremely powerful. Mao also had this. He had Mercury in Capricorn on the ASC, so he was actually very sharp. Additionally, he had Venus exalted in Pisces, so he had the charm of the devil. Hell, in the interview they asked, what the fuck is wrong with you? That's the astrology angle of it. MAGA and normies don't understand how the elites are abused and used by the tiny hats and rich capitalists. is probably worse than that. They only care about a few issues like immigration and taxes being slightly lower, so they will willfully ignore everything bad. Yes, nobody really gives a fuck about anything unless they've been socially engineered to think that they care. They'll be socially engineered to like be racist to Somalians one week. But like the only thing they care about is like lower taxes because their cattle brains are very immediate and in the moment. Abstract thinking is too difficult. You're already losing most people. So they just think that more money on the paycheck means everything's good. They're just all trying to hustle the system. That's why the housing market is the way it is, because everybody's hustling this way. That's why we have infinite inflation forever. Because some people are making money on the fact that your currency is being devalued out from under you. Anybody who can invest. They also think it's hilarious. Like, they think that they're dominating life. And they just love to compare themselves to others. Which is usually somebody only slightly poorer than themselves. Not even only the tiny hats, it's them and the 36 Saudi princes, the few families that knew Mao when he rose to power, Schwab, Rothschilds, etc. It's a big club, and we're not in it. And I mean, that's why I say, whenever I'm talking to these Nazis, because I've been going on these streams and hanging out their Discord servers, I just keep saying, none of what you do matters unless you deal with the general capitalist problem, because Karl Marx understood better the actual immediate motivators for why these things happen. And it is fixating on things like Jews and religions and shit and ethnicities is something so physical and circumstantial that it's no wonder you get outmaneuvered. Even if you kill all the Jews, you've killed a small percentage of the elites, and now you get back in the wage cage. It's all these world leaders, these Saudi princes, these European world leaders that are born and raised in Geneva and like futuristic fucking suburbs. Or in America in fucking Virginia suburbs or the Bay Area. Somewhere around New England, around the campuses. The capitalists, the world leaders. Anybody with a lot of... Saudi princes are capitalists. And then, of course, in China, you have the regime, and it's filled with royal dynasties, literally. Royal dynasties with actually spoiled children. Spoiled rich kids driving around in Lamborghinis. the little I get exposed to people in real life, all they ever care about is pressuring me to get a job while they themselves cannot afford to even get a mortgage. So even getting into the level of debt is beyond their grasp, wondering why I do not want to have a worse, more exploitative job or care about the fact no one will ever hire me or any of my mental problems from being abused by people. I really do not care. Like, I just cannot care. It's just a decaying, rotten society full of scared, stressed, insecure, overcompensating fucking retards that don't understand what's happening. They're just constantly lying to each other, lying to themselves. I just can't care. Oh, you're not being productive. You're not generating surplus value for some rich pedophile. Yeah, I really care about that. That Mandelson thing with Epstein is so funny. The guy who treated human beings as disposable commodities is sulking because a grown man isn't giving him enough validation or access. Yeah, that's how rich people are. They think being broke is when you only have like a couple $1,000,000, and they're always trying to move up. Like, that's why with trickle-down economics, you let them have more money, it doesn't come down to you. They just buy more child sex slaves and mansions and immortality elixirs. One thing that really makes me mad about Christians, they are so pro-life, and yet they want to make life worse in so many things in society. That's right-wingers in general, yeah. Right-wingers and like half of left-wingers. Half of left-wingers are annoying fucking pro-lifers who don't even have a basis for anything. They're just kind of regurgitating vague, nebulous, feel-good shit that they saw in fucking Marvel movies and Reddit. It's like, yeah, pro-life, and you do nothing to make life better. Make life worse. Just virtue signal. You want slaves to reproduce. To keep labor value down so you don't have to pay people as much. Isabel Jenk, the girl who convinced Christian to repeatedly rape his mother, was from a nice suburb in Virginia with a father who was a retired intelligence officer. Really gets the noggin jogging. From a prolific background, and yet so miserable that she needs to externalize herself upon a vulnerable person like Christian and get him to do depraved, vulgar things. Yeah, rich people don't do bad things in private. Yeah. Why would they care? They have money, and you don't do bad things when you have more power. This is really what normies fucking keep thinking. Like, normies think power makes you more moral, makes you more righteous and intelligent. Power doesn't corrupt, it purifies. People use vague words like satanic and demonic. I mean, you know what's demonic is fucking that. Is unironically worshipping power and defending it. And saying that having power is all you need. Which is true in regards to cattle. If you have power, you get to fuck everyone. If you don't, you get fucked. But in a world of enlightened people, it's not about that. In a small sphere where enlightened people exist, it's not about might makes right. Which obviously doesn't apply to 99% of humanity. Nearly all Christians vote Republican. That takes away people's benefits that help them survive, like healthcare and funding schools. Yes, and they're taking your food stamps away so that Walmart employees are still being underpaid. And now they don't have food stamps, and they're still being underpaid, so great job. Those are the people who are on food stamps who are actually working. Most people are evil and Christians are evil. The island is nothing new. See Tiberius's pleasure palace villa Javis. Of course, it's nothing new, and also we talk about Chinese emperors and what did the dictator Pinochet do? He was raping and killing kids in his villa. That's all people want to do. It's like, I want to realize myself and I'm already powerful and rich, so they start seeking out the most extreme contrasts, and then their animal brain conjures up children, and guess what they do to the children? Because they're just thinking in extreme contrasts to realize themselves. That's also why they get into interracial cuckoldry and transgenderism and shit. Start to allow immigrants into their wealthy homeowners associations, and we'll see how much longer their pro-life stance lasts. I think it's bad for society for us to have open immigration. It would be bad for our safety nets, but since America doesn't have any safety nets, might as well just let the whole world just come in. Let the whole world come in. Even though capitalists will be able to totally ruthlessly fucking rape workers because there's no jobs, people are all begging to get paid minimum wage. It would still cause so much unrest and instability that people would start dying. And safety nets would also basically be impossible at that point. So that'd be funny. Just an overpopulated Mad Max scenario. That would be fine if we're apparently not going to make a better society. Just make sure everybody is as armed as possible. Which right-wingers will turn their back on. They will want to disarm the proletariat in times of unrest to protect the capitalist class, which is all they care about. All their ideals dissolve and fall by the wayside compared to the needs of themselves and the capitalists. Anyone who has ever introduced themselves by stating, "I'm a good Christian, we're good Christian people," has screwed me over immensely. Christianity is used as a calling card so that evildoers can give you a false sense of security. Organized religion in general, they do this with Buddhism and stuff too, and this is why religions or any organization that allows normies to be part of it just by partaking in rituals is doomed to fail or will be corrupted. Normies are adaptive and believe in nothing. they will just, if there is value to be had in joining your organization, they will join it and ruin it from the inside. So Christianity, all you have to do is say, I love Jesus and I'm a priest or something, and boom, you can steal money and bully people and rape kids and whatever. A hungry dog is an obedient dog. If we give people what they want, we will have to cause. We will not have cattle willing to work for us. It's still funny how they accidentally keep fucking saying that publicly. That is what they literally privately think. They think that you are all cattle. You're all dogs that must be starved. That poverty must be created on purpose to make better workers. They literally believe that you must suffer more than is needed physically for their own benefit. They want to impoverish you on purpose to make you more desperate so that you work harder for them and accept exploitation. They keep accidentally saying that in public. And every fucking time they have to take down every instance of it, and they have to deny it up and down. They have to deny that it ever happened, because that's how they talk about you in private. And they know that it's bad. And they know people would fucking hang them from fucking streetlights if people knew that. See, that's real evil. That's real evil that doesn't immediately involve raping kids, but they probably do too. Funny how Christians cope and seethe among other religions about becoming sovereign and empowered. It's either sorcery or you were evil in a past life, but if you become elevated, you will not only have the funds, but the enlightenment to not be a selfish artard. Religion is just a way to avoid self-accountability and guilt about doing wrong things. It's also just another way to, it's another communal effort that relies on manipulation. The Christians move in and act like they're helping the homeless. They act like we could be doing community stuff without Christianity. We don't have to have all these churches that fight over how many congregations they can deceive. It's just another power structure. They do this with fucking anything, with companies, the Freemasons. It's all just groups for normie cattle to move up in and twist it to suit their own needs. And all you have to do to be part of a religion is to do inane rituals. You might not even have to do rituals. You can just say, I am a Christian. And boom, that's it. Anything which allows you to be a member just by doing something arbitrary like that is worth nothing. The only, unless it has to be like a company, or otherwise it's not about spiritual enlightenment. It also offers systems because normie cattle cannot think for themselves. Sermons and shit precede e-celeb vlogs and video essays and shit. It's just like people marketing things at you to prepackage a bunch of presupposed things that you ought to do without you having to understand it. Have How's the 4chan world reacting to finding out their opposition controlled by Epstein? I mean, they don't really care because there's no real evidence of that. Other than like Epstein talking to Moot, but like the anti-Semitism and all that shit. Yeah, I'm sure some of that is controlled up and retardation, but a lot of that was legitimate stuff that goes as far back as fucking militia movements in the late 20th century, and that movement just moved over. Like I talk to these like Nazis. They're literally it's like a long line of just Nazi beliefs and white supremacist beliefs that they've passed down. Have you read Anselm's Proslogion? No. I don't know what that is. One of the most, sup, Oak. One of the most vile of the religious grifters has to be Kenneth Copeland. He scammed hundreds of thousands of elderly people into buying land in an evangelical community that does not and will never exist. He's just your run-of-the-mill evil rich person. That's all normies will ever do if they're rich. Just your average rich person. His grift happens to be Christianity. Because normies will ultimately submit to wealth and power. There are no ideals for them. They will submit to whoever they think will offer them a better method of realization. He now runs his own TV channel and flies around in private jets while paying his entire staff minimum wage. What else is new? The fact that boomers actually believe they're buying land in heaven proves how fucking retarded they are, and they're scared and demented. Fucking pathetic. There's literally a giant industry, probably like $1 trillion industry just scamming dumb old people. I don't know who Ferox Neoman is, but he got banned off YouTube for showing underwear. Yeah, I mean, it's inevitable. You're always going to get banned off of YouTube. It's just a matter of time. I'm sitting here in my fucking underwear right now, and I've done it pretty much every fucking time. That's basically the strategy that I've seen with these streamers that I've been talking to. Is they basically just sit there and accept that they're going to get banned eventually. They just try to hang on to it for as long as possible, rack up followers, attract attention, use the YouTube platform, get banned, wait a couple months, make another account, do it again. Reality isn't, ignorance ain't bliss. If you take a look at some of these normies out here, I can't even imagine the circle of hell they exist in their day-to-day life. Just ties back into this. Why are people who became knowledgeable or are aware of the spirit possess such a grim outlook? Like, if you become aware of the spirit, then you would think that would be an invitation to have fun down here and break the script. Because we have to share this world with cattle people, and we often have to deal with cattle people that unjustly have power over us, to which they will corrupt, lie, scam, just do evil, stupid things that they don't even have to be doing, and perpetuating this whole big evil system that they've only ever known, so they don't know what else there is. And then you just see that even if you enlighten everybody, that the cycle of life and death will just reintroduce ignorance to make it futile. And that enlightenment basically comes from seeing yourself in stupid people and wanting to be more than them. To see what they're doing wrong and wanting not to be that. Because otherwise you would be condemned to be what they are. So things like that will give you a pretty grim outlook when you realize it. To me, the world just seems to get silly and stupid the further you go up, to the point of hilarity. I mean, a lot of the stuff in the Epstein files is hilarious, and this is supposed to be the conspiracy with the big bad. I mean, a lot of it's just like nothing, but you can see how rich people talk, how Jews talk about Goyim, and then it's like, it's not really surprising. It's stuff that I already suspected. It's not all released anyway because for some reason Trump doesn't want to release more of the Epstein files. For some fucking reason. And he said the Epstein files were a Democrat hoax, and he just blatantly lies. And Trump is good to demoralize people, to show them that like these cults of personality will always betray them, and that the government is fucked, society's fucked, everybody supports evil, and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, that's good. That's a good narrative to put out into the world. If we're not going to make things better, let's destroy everything forever. And another thing I find rather interesting is this is just one revelation. What else is unknown that is bigger and grander than this? It'll just be giant billion-dollar fraud scams, the dealings between like Republicans and half of Democrats in Israel, the bribes, both billionaires and millionaires, so boomers with like $5 million. They like to go to the Philippines or third world countries and rape kids. Kids that won't be missed, they probably kill them too, some of them. I mean, it's stuff that I can sense that. So I don't need to wait for it to be leaked. I guess it would be. There's no way it would be leaked. I mean, that would be good if everything was revealed, if everything was always seen, if no lie could be told, then the world would be a better place. While the left are mostly artards, the right has been utterly wrecked. Pola's in ruins. Well, that's mostly because of botting and because of normies thinking that they're right-wing because they watched Ben Shapiro or saw Elon Musk tweet something about Somalians, or they heard their dad, who's a Zionist, complain about Muslims. So they come in and shit up everything. There's at least more diversity of opinion among the right, whereas the left wing is more likely to destroy all opposing thoughts and refuse to self-reflect. There's a very small minority of like Marxists that actually self-reflect, and everybody else is a fucking retard. What's up, John? Has been a while. I was saying for a while that nothing good will ever come out of the right because it's just retards fear mongering and worshiping rich people, but nothing good will come out of the left either because the left always devolves into wanting to do things like. I found that soy cuck redditors are actually absolutely down with genocide and colonialism. It's for like progressive bullshit. Like we can annex an African country if they are mean to gay people. And then of course there's all the transgender nonsense that pretty much exists to waste everyone's time and complicate things. The left is completely fucked. We've been divided into these two sides that have grains of truth where you have to side with the right wing if you get sick of talking to a soy cuck Reddit retard hypocrite that would support atrocities and does want to undermine their nation for reasons they can't even understand. And then you have to fight the right wing if you want to add things like fucking healthcare, better wages and working conditions. Fucking pathetic. I am also destroyed and I think this reality is hell. I can barely muster the strength to fucking move around. Yeah, I'm also obviously still poor. I'm just hanging on because I guess I don't want to experience what it's like for a bullet to pass through my brain. And there will be nothing else after this. There'll be nothing forever, so trying to make something of existence for a bit longer. Yeah, there's plenty of hobbies and stuff to do. Like I said, that's the one thing I don't have a problem with is what to fill my time with. It's just that everything around the time that I have to do things, it's just pure hell. Oh yeah, by the way, I finally got my own book in the mail. Except they printed it in the wrong page color so that it's white instead of cream colored. Because fiction novels are supposed to be cream colored. So that pisses me off. Because I would have to take the product down and put it back up, and then anybody who bought the book won't be able to give it a fucking rating. Amazon is still approving the audiobook for Audible. But you can, yeah, I mean, I do have a sample, I just haven't put it up anywhere. Like, there will be a sample of it when it's up on Audible, but it's already on Gumroad. Shipping costed me $5, and it took 10 days. Oh, Kindle, I went back and I tried to change the page color, but it won't. It says that after your book has been published, you're not able to change the page color anymore. And I tried unpublishing the book without taking the product down. And it still says that your book's been published, so you can't change the page color. Also, I'm like 240 pages into the sequel for Death Knight. It's just... I just end up just fucking hating whatever I'm working on. I'm still working on the second Space Pirates book. And then I'm writing a non-fiction book. It's just a collection of my beliefs told in a digestible manner so that I can make a manifesto or a book that would, if somebody takes it off of me, they'll be able to skip a lot of hard lessons of life, where I basically spell out fucking everything, like normie behavior and political ideologies and religion. And I try to explain like the different states of being. And I try to make it like a just a book that just like connects everything together. And it doesn't read like a boring philosophy book. It's just like, it's almost like a story. Will the sequel to Space Pirates be a direct continuation or separate arc story? It's a direct continuation. It takes place right where the story ended because the story actually wasn't supposed to end there. I just had to end it there because it was going on too long at that point. And plus, there's just never going to be a definitive end to the story because it's just like life where it just goes on. And like people die and shit happens and that's pretty much it. And the only real like narrative and evolution that happens is mental. Like the perception and the thoughts of the characters. That's the only thing that like develops towards anything. Whereas the physical world around them is just like random bullshit and chaos. Then the third Space Pirate book, I'm gonna do something a little different with it. I'm thinking that I'm gonna have it based on this one character called Rod Bullstar, who's also a marauder, but he's the captain of a different crew of them. And he's like an actual nightmare. He's kind of like Captain Stern from Heavy Metal, where he's just like the biggest piece of shit in the galaxy who's still a human. That's pretty much it. But, Death Knight, Tobias, this guy on Discord, he surprisingly, he like immediately ordered this book and then actually finished reading it in like in like 3 days. And then he typed me like this extensive review of it, telling me like what to fix and pointing out all the typos. And it was fucking crazy. And he told me that it is a really funny book. It's because that was always supposed to be the point. It's supposed to be like a dark comedy book with a lot of violence. It's just that it doesn't really have a satisfying ending because, again, this book is just about the tabletop sessions that I played as this character. Yeah, Tobias told me he was reading your book next. He said that he was going to look at Space Pirates, but he has to do your book first. What is your book if you published it? We could just throw it out here. Is it that fantasy book you were working on for like years? I don't know what your price limit is on buying this book. I mean, I could like temporarily. This might seem I don't like fucking with the price because it might seem unfair to people that already bought shit. But if your shipping costs are like if it adds like $10 or $20 to the shipping, I think you live in Chile. I'm pretty sure I can change the price for just Chile. Which I'll lose out on money, but it's whatever. I'm also thinking about like doing like a bundle thing, which might also be kind of asshole-ish to some of you that already bought shit. Where I'll put like the ebook and the audiobook together or something, and then have it be like $2 cheaper. That Bronze Age fantasy one, you published it in paperback. I mean, you could say the name of your book, Oak, because I've been shilling mine for the last fucking 10 minutes already. Uh, okay, that music ended. I'm gonna throw on some slower bass. This is a good album, but I already listened to it. The Great Escape. I don't know if I listened to this one already. Wolf Slumbers is still streaming, I see. Piece of the Last Hero. That's Oak's book. It's a fantasy novel called Piece of the Last Hero. And Veos 6 is working on a book called The Frontier 4026. It sounds like a space book. Come on. It is not playing this goddamn video because YouTube is slowing down. You gave up on yours, but you didn't like your writing style. You might have to read more and do something else. My writing style is basically to be gritty and realistic as possible, but the narration is extremely eloquent. I think that's a good contrast. That's pretty much like what I like in media. It's like when we were reviewing Stalker, I was talking about how these like Russian books and games and movies, they try to juxtapose fantasy with realism, and they do it very well. Fallout used to do it well too. Fallout 1, 2, and a bit, and then New Vegas. And only those ones. It's just, that's how I write in Space Pirates, which I thought it's funny because the characters are all, most of them are like uncouth and very crude and kind of low intelligence. So they're just like, so are we gonna fucking do this shit or what? Because I'm fucking done with this shit. And then in contrast to that, the narration is utterly like eloquent. Like very verbose, very, very proper. And then of course the story structures are always going to be like just kind of random realistic shit happening, just like in life, where there's no conclusion, there's no real definitive conclusion. It's just like life will just goes on unless they died. There's like these stories don't like typically they typically will not end with like a giant battle or somebody sacrificing themselves. I mean, Death Knight is more crazy and over the top. It will have an explosive, stupid ending in the second book. But Space Pirates is explicitly about like brutal realism contrasted with all the sci-fi technology. It is really not fucking playing this music. So I guess you just have to think in terms of that as like what kind of story are you trying to write? Because kind of like I said, the consistent theme that I like to go for with stories is the realism contrasted with the fantasy, and that's even reflected in the writing. I hope is that the low intelligence, brutal, realistic dialogue is contrasted with the romantic narration, the romantic, proper, eloquent narration. It's also just kind of funny, and it lets the reader know that I'm not as stupid as this character that is currently speaking. Because Death Knight is one of the most retarded characters, period. And that is very clearly not reflective of the world around him. He is an anomaly of how stupid and crazy he is. He's the dumbest and craziest person in any room. Tobias gave me very constructive criticism. It was I was happy to read it. I reread his. It was a big entry, so I was like reading it several times over. It's genuinely good insight. Where do I buy it? Where do you buy my book? Just, what pops up if I type it in on Google? God damn it. This is the only product, like, in existence that is called Death Knight 666. And it does not pop up on the shopping page. If you type it in on Google, my Gumroad comes up for the ebook. But there's also the audiobook. And then it's also on Amazon. Gumroad is surprisingly good about getting your product up on the search results. I also got really lucky because this is another name that is not held by anything else in history. Somehow. And it's got fucking, I can't rotate. Got that 8-pointed eye symbol and a swastika pentagram throughout it. And also, see the cover isn't entirely AI generated. It's based on this 3D model that I put in the book. I made this shit in Blender. This is actually what he looks like. Like down to a T. At least in the first book. Oh yeah, it's also on the back. I forgot. That's the 3D model with his retinue there. That's also where I put the Order of Nine Angles symbol on the back. And then the book cover for the sequel is kind of ass, and I cannot get the AI to fucking fix it. Like, it is fucking it up big time over and over. This track is fucking awesome. Deep bass. Fuck, I did not want to close. I was just checking the live chat on Wolf's stream. It is fucking it up big time. Anyway, back to that music. Better not. There we go. I don't have anything else to talk about. Also, by the way, in case I don't mention this, tomorrow I'm going to be on Celtic Cat's stream and we're going to be reviewing Videodrome. Tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, I think. So. And then I think the next movie after that, we're going to review Come and See, the World War II movie, which I just watched a week ago. It's going to be on Celtic Cat's stream on YouTube. My main complaint with Videodrome is that they had to be too restrained with what Videodrome actually looked like, because the actual video content is kind of hilarious. But everything I say about it now, I'll just repeat tomorrow anyway, so it doesn't matter. I know Come and See was posted on 4chan a lot, but I'm not familiar with these memes you speak of. It was just, it has a slow start, but it is good. That's how war should be depicted. Conflict should be tragedy. This is what soy cuck Redditors will never understand. Conflict should be tragedy. It shouldn't be my side's good, we're the Avengers, and the other side, they're Ultron and Hitler and Satan, and they're every fascist, bigot, racist, sexist. Oh, you're fighting me, you're probably a pedophile. That's what soy cucks think. And it's righteous for me to kill you. Because you're fighting me, then that automatically means that you've done every depraved thing imaginable. That means you're also stupid, evil, and crazy. But then you open Come and See, and it's just hell. Even if, because in that movie, the Nazis were literally, they were actually evil as hell, but it was realistic too, despite how over the top it was. And even in spite of that, it was hell. It doesn't feel good to participate in that. It doesn't feel good to have to kill them, to see them. Yeah, it was a standard Durlwanger shit. Durlwinger, forget. Yeah, I know about Oscar Winger. I know about the Durl gang. See, it's hard to tell with World War II because fucked up shit was happening, and people were also lying about shit happening. That people can easily get away with just making shit up. So, you have to be careful with World War II and fucking war bullshit in general. I mean, what the fuck do you expect whenever you have like a racist regime that says that Slavs are subhumans? Polish and Russians are all subhumans that you can like just rape and kill. Then, what a surprise! Your stormtroopers start raping and mass murdering them. You're in command of normies and you're telling them that it's okay to like do anything you want to these people. What the fuck do you expect? Elon Musk ditches Mars plans and says instead SpaceX will focus on the moon instead. What a fucking shocker. What a fucking shocker. The con man relying on tricking investors and governments was lying about colonizing Mars. Which is surprising to anyone who knows sci-fi isn't real, and that these assholes have an incentive to hype themselves up and con people. As the kid protagonist was an amazing actor. Everybody was an amazing actor. It was good sets. It was a phenomenal movie. Like the second half of the movie is like a descent into hell. It was very good. Best in Hell pro-Russian Wagner movie, so it's like a Wagner. The hell? It's about the mercenaries, Wagner. Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't want to watch a state-backed, like, propaganda movie, which Come and See is basically like a pro-Russian, anti-fascist propaganda movie. It's just done very well, and it's not out of the bounds of what happened in real life. Colonizing Mars is complete bullshit. Again, even if you could get there, it would be pure hell, and you would be living in a fucking little bunker. Nobody would want to live there. He's just shamelessly full of shit. And now he's just backing down, and nobody's gonna fucking think twice about it. Normies really want to be deceived by the world's richest man who sells them a bunch of fake promises over and over. Just believing rich people are promising the impossible, snake oil. Oh, it's pathetic. It's just so boring, just over and over for eternity. We could theoretically live in shitty little bunkers on Mars, but it would suck. And people that are on Mars would turn into freaks and would become crazy. And you would also be sharing living space with Indians on H-1Bs with fake degrees. Or maybe not. Maybe the Indians want to stay on Earth where there's white women to rape. But no, like I hate sci-fi retards. As somebody who likes Vaults and Fallout would be way better than the shit people would be living in on Mars. It would smell like curry and diarrhea too, and sweat. I hate sci-fi retards because I like the sci-fi aesthetic, but it's complete bullshit. Colonizing planets is complete bullshit. Can't change the fucking magnetic field of a fucking planet. That's what fucking determines the atmosphere and the amount of radiation on the fucking surface. Not changing that shit. Bullshit. But, you know, people are retards and worship money. Normies want to be rich and rape kids themselves. And they're ready to believe any lie, and they want to lie to themselves. They don't give a fuck about what's true. They just want to suck up to rich pedophiles and join in on the fun. And you gotta tell them, no, retard, you can't change the magnetic field of a fucking planet. Terraforming planets isn't just fucking seed spraying clouds into the atmosphere. Those clouds will fucking float away into space. Oh, and by the way, the fucking radiation and the freezing or burning temperatures. Since I've done basic research when I was writing Fleeting Death Space Pirates, which you can find on Amazon and Gumroad, I now know how retarded sci-fi losers are who think that it's actually real. Any fucking element can just appear under certain conditions on a planet's surface. Planets are very big, and then the radiation and the conditions of the environment changes rapidly over the span of millions of years, billions. And the fact that Mars has water doesn't even indicate that there ever was what we would call an atmosphere. And it definitely doesn't mean that there's any hope of making an atmosphere ever, because it relies on literally the giant metal core that creates the magnetic field, that gives the planet its mass, that shields the planet from radiation, that allows the planet to retain particles in its orbit to create an atmosphere. In my second novel, I will have a failed colony that fails simply because they got down everything but the biosphere, caused a great oxidation event, killed all the colonists. Uh, I mean, that book could be interesting. Seven Deadly Sins. See what that album's about. Space is a scam. People need to let it go. It's literally just a fucking state and capitalist billionaire fucking scam. Yeah, Earth is like a freak accident. There's so many random things that dictate the outcome of a planet across like the entirety of eternity that most of these other worlds are all going to be fucked up. They never found bacteria on Mars, did they? No, they didn't. Exactly. Because those microbes get fucking killed by the radiation. Oh, so YouTube is shit right now. They're probably doing something to fight ad block again. So I can't listen to this satanic vaporwave album. We're gonna listen to Lost in Space. I guess that's fitting. Star Wars and Star Trek were hope porn that fed into a lot of people's delusions. People, that galaxy colonization is possible. What a joke. Yeah, because it was an interesting and novel thing at one point. Sci-fi used to be a novel thing, and now it's not. Now it's saturated our culture. Now we can get the fuck over it. I only write about sci-fi because I like the aesthetic and because it's basically it's saying like this shit is not real, but if it was, it would be like this. Atmosphere lost is on a geological scale, even with a shitty magnetic field and low gravity with a fission economy. You could probably manufacture more atmosphere than is lost. Sadly, if we ever stop in 100,000 years, you'll lose your atmosphere. I don't know how it's just on a geological scale because even Earth is losing helium because it floats away into space. Mars doesn't have the conditions to not just the geology, it doesn't have the conditions to retain the atmosphere. You can't hold it down so that everything slips away. And it's basically completely open to getting bombarded by not just radiation from the sun, but from all radiation in the entire universe. So, even like being generous, you're saying it would take like 100,000 years of never stopping to create an atmosphere on Mars, which, I mean, I doubt that because it literally can't hold the atmosphere on its surface. You're not. It doesn't deal with the fundamental problem that it doesn't have the gravity to keep the atmosphere, and it doesn't have the electromagnetic field to repel enough radiation. You know, I was recently told on one of these streams, I think it was Wolf Stream or Celtic Cat. I was told that the Brave browser on your phone actually will play YouTube in the background, in addition to having ad blocker or uBlock. uBlock is what I use. I can clearly see that YouTube is fighting it. Yeah, I'm using Firefox and uBlock. Damn, this is a nice album. Just love this chill, lo-fi vaporwave sound. Goddamn. Perfect music for just reclining back and chilling. For Mars analogy, look at the mass of atmosphere loss on Mars currently. It's currently 160 to 1,800 grams per second of mostly CO2. Sure, the loss would go up exponentially, but lower latitudes, and especially the Mariner Valley, could hold that concentrate easier. That is interesting. If like if then that kind of reminds me of like Cowboy Bebop, how Mars, they didn't really terraform Mars per se. They started living inside of the craters. So like the craters were the only parts that could retain an atmosphere or something. But still, I'm very skeptical of that. And plus, you would have to be replacing the atmosphere, and I don't know how you would even do that. The rate that would be replacement level. The surface of Mars is covered in iron 3 oxidex. It's all rust. I don't remember if it's hydrated off the top of my head. That's water too. If it is. Guess it's mostly muddy subterranean water, but it could still harbor some simple life like bacteria or single-celled organisms. Yeah, like I was reading it, they were speculating that's the only possible way that there could be any life on Mars, is that there has to be hardy underground microbes that can protect themselves from the radiation. I just want to live to see the day we find a life in this godforsaken solar system. I mean, I don't care. It won't change anything. Because any life is just going to be bacteria. Or it's going to be more likely, if we're lucky, fossils of bacteria. Because it just means what? Radiation just blasted some water that contained minerals. And then bacteria emerged and then died. That's pretty much how life emerges. I don't even find that cool. I find that like boring. Yeah, I mean, at some point, inanimate matter becomes organic matter. It's just like chaotic conditions over the span of millions of years. You just have like, you just have like this water that has access to different elements and minerals, but not too much that there's still mostly water. And then like just getting it's just atoms slamming around, and then maybe radiation bakes the water from time to time, or over a long period of time, and then it just turns into fucking bacteria. Well, there's nothing to indicate that we're the first or any succession of sapient life. We're just the only one that we know exists. And there easily could have been life somewhere else a billion years ago, fucking 1 million light years away. How did DNA come to be? It's just a fucking. It's just an organic means of transferring information. It's just something that naturally emerged, like the crystalline structure of molecules. It's just it's just like the form that things coalesce into in this in these laws of physics. Like, would it be cool to know, like, specifically exactly how it happened? I mean, sure, but, like, you don't need to know the specifics of something to, like, to get it, to understand it. It wouldn't really change anything to know. It's just more physical processes that you understand. Mm-hmm. Some anon figured out that we live in a simulation because you keep seeing loaves of sourdough bread that nobody ever buys. And it's funny, they thinks that. Funny that he came to that conclusion. Uh, 20 more minutes. Starting to fall asleep. Yeah, I love this recliner. I just kick back and relax and listen to music and watch shit. I'm glad these streams make you feel not alone because, yeah, fucking nobody else really bothers, or the grifters, or there's some ideologue, or they're really stupid. And this music is from slower pace. One's called Lost in Space. Let's see if that other fucking album works now. The Seven Deadly Sins album. Oh, looks like it's not. What about Blood and Sacrifice? Oh yeah, because it sounds cool, so that one doesn't work either. So fucking stupid. Sunset Rider, how about that? Nope. How about Ronin Shutsugen? Nope. YouTube is fucking pathetic. As I'm gonna open the Brave browser. Do these videos even have fucking ads? That'd be the real rub. Because this fucking artist says that he just plunders all the shit. Oh look, it works on the Brave browser. Yeah, we're gonna be reviewing Videodrome on Celtic Cat stream tomorrow at 9 Eastern time. I mean, I've had people leave my stream to go watch Thomas White or somebody, so I mean, I know how it feels. I understand. It happens. Either way, I'm gonna fall asleep. Thanks for showing up and talking. I'm out.